welcome to Flavours of the World with Viking.TV here in Ballyknocken Cookery School. I'm Catherine Fulvio and I am delighted to show you some treats for New Year's Eve. I'm talking party food, and of course our great Irish tradition is sausage rolls. And why not? They are absolutely scrumptious. But I've got sausage rolls with a twist. Mine are with apple and cheddar. So you've got the bite of the apple and the tanginess of that mature cheddar, which is going to work so well with the sausage rolls. Now, I can't talk too much because I have to get on with making the pastry. So we're going to make our pie crust or our pastry. And here I have some all-purpose flour. And we're going to put in a nice bit of salt because this is a savoury. The next thing we want to do is put in our butter, and look, this is really great butter. This is salted butter. That's why I just put in a pinch of salt. In that goes. And now you cut the butter in. So you use your fingertips and push the butter into the flour like this. Creating a crumb effect when you're making a pastry is really important because you're spreading the butter out nicely among the flour, making it a lovely balance when you go to roll out your pastry. So now we have this lovely crumb. All we need to do now is bring this together with egg yolk and water. So I'll just crack my egg, put the egg yolk in, dash of water, and then I use a fork. Just cut through the egg yolk and start whisking the egg yolk in to the mix. And then I just add water in as I need it. It's time to put my hands in and see if I need more water. Yes, I need another drop of water. It's important not to put too much water in. And obviously if you put more water in, it's so much easier to bring this together as a pastry. But the problem is when you go to bake your pastry later, you've got evaporation of the water and therefore shrinkage of your pastry or your pie crust. So that's just a little tip to remember when you're making a pie crust or a pastry. Just coming together now. We're looking for a clean bowl. So once this all sticks together, we know we're good. And of course, you've got to remember not to overhandle your pastry as well. It does need to go to the fridge. So we'll bring this together now and we'll have a look at it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be a nice dough. I'm happy with that. I'm going to wrap that up, pop it in the fridge, and in about 30 minutes, it'll be ready to roll out. At that point, it's rested a little bit. When the pastry's resting, now's the time to make the filling. And all you need is some good quality pork sausage meat. And I have shallots and I have lovely mature grated cheddar cheese. This is Irish cheddar. It's so divine, it's really unctuous and it really adds a richness to the whole dish. And of course, apple from our garden. This is just a tiny little cute apple, but this is going to bring sweetness. So this is just an assembly job. I want to make this easy. It's New Year's Eve. We can't be spending too long in the kitchen. So get your pork sausage meat in. And some shallots. And let's go with a little bit of paprika. And I'm putting in some chopped thyme. Because of course thyme is such an earthy herb and works so incredibly well with any pork dish, in particular the sausage meat. Right, cheddar cheese goes in. Then we have Worcestershire sauce. That always brings that umami flavour. You know that flavour where you're not exactly sure what it is, but you know it makes the dish taste better. And the same with a bit of Dijon mustard. And sure, we all know that Dijon mustard works so well with the likes of any pork product and also with cheese. So now I'm going to grate my apple. And I just have my little grater here and off we go. You do need to grate the apple for this because it just spreads the sweetness out nice and evenly. And of course, the apple is nice and juicy when you grate it. So it's bringing an extra bit of moisture to the dish. So in goes our grated apple. And then you can get a fork and just mash it all together. That's it all mashed together now. I'm happy with that. Looks gorgeous, except I need a little bit of salt and pepper in there. You always have to have a bit of salt and pepper, so we can put that in now. And give it a final mash. And then all we have to do is roll out our pastry. pastry's rested, just time now to roll out. So a nice bit of flour on the pastry, and then just start at the edges and push it out. So our aim now is to roll out the pastry to get a nice rectangle as best I can, and then I'll cut it up the centre, make 2 strips. You'll see it all come together. Now let's see how we're doing. Okay, I think we can go a bit more lengthways. Perfect. And then if it's catching, a palette knife does the job nicely. Bit of flour. Right, that shall do it. Next, we just need to cut this up the centre basically. So let's just fold it in half, see where the centre is. Open it back again, and then we can cut. You don't need to worry about being too tidy yet, because we've got a way of tidying all of this up later. So now it's time to get the filling into our sausage rolls. Now, there's no neat way of doing this. You just have to get the sausage meat. And what I've done is I actually folded the pastry in half like that, just to get a centre point. And now I'm putting my sausage meat along one half of it, and then I fold the other half over. Seal it with egg wash into our oven, and before you know it, we'll be indulging in the most beautiful cheddar and apple sausage rolls. Now, try not to overpack these. I have a terrible temptation always to just overpack sausage rolls, because I just want as much flavour as possible in. But then when you try to bake them off, that's when you have a problem with them splitting open a little bit, or leakage from it. The next part of the recipe, you want to crimp these closed. So what I always do is I get a bit of egg wash. This is just some egg with a nice little bit of water added just to loosen it. And I just brush the pastry on the edges so that when I close it over, it'll seal nicely. And sure, we'll do this side when we're here. Now, next, you're going to fold over the pastry like so, pulling it over the sausage meat and pressing it down. And you can, if you want, just cut the edge like so, just to tidy it up, or a knife will do the job as well. You just need a humble fork to crimp, so you just press on the edges, nothing fancy, but it makes such a difference, and it seals it closed as well. You don't want any of this leaking. There we go, that's so nice. Right, and now some egg wash for the top. This will give a lovely glossy finish to it. And now to cut our sausage rolls, we need our knife and then just a little sprinkling of flour either side, just to have a little bit of protection for the knife to go through, and off we go. We're going to cut these straight down like so. There we go. And then we cut them in half again, and half again. Okay, and then sprinkle with some sesame seeds. Well, do you know what? I'll actually put them on my baking tray, and then I'll put the sesame seeds on them, because I just feel those sesame seeds are just going to go everywhere. So, pop them on your tray. Sprinkle some sesame seeds over. I'm using black sesame seeds. They always look so nice. Nice bit of texture from them as well. And I can guarantee you there's something particularly special about a homemade sausage roll. And these with the cheddar and the apple in here, it's just going to be so gorgeous. But honestly, you know, you can go to the store and you can buy sausage rolls, but I'm telling you, these absolutely peak when it comes to entertaining. They're filling, they're wholesome, they're Moorish, they're perfect finger food, but they're substantial. And now these go into the oven and we just bake them until they're golden and delicious. And here they are, don't they look delicious? Okay, so they're cooling now, but look at the shine on them. They just, I mean, I would work my way through half of those before I've even made the dipping sauce, but we need a dipping sauce. So for the dipping sauce, we're going to grab a spoon from here, and then in goes our mayonnaise. This is very easy. And this is the kind of sauce that you can use over and over again with other recipes as well. Do you know, it's just one of those lovely comforting little sauces. So I'm going to use some little bit of paprika in here. So in that goes. That's just going to bring a bit of warmth into it. This is Dijon mustard. You can use as much as you want. I'm going to put it all in. This is about 2 teaspoons of it in. So there's a nice bit of heat in that. There's a bit of a kick there now. And then a bit of honey just to sweeten it, because honey works so well with the cheese and the apple and the pork. So in this goes the great Irish honey. Okay, and then we're going to loosen that with a little bit of cream. This is just regular whipping cream. And we'll see how much more we need in a minute. Now, I will put just a little bit, a pinch of salt, just a pinch of salt in, and just a little pinch of pepper as well, just to season it. And now we'll whisk. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at this little sauce. I mean, it works well with just, you know, chips or anything that you want to dip. And I'm very happy now with the texture of that. I think that's dipping consistency. Right, all I have to do now is plate up. Okay, so we'll just get our sauce into our dipping bowl. Pour it in. Perfect. Happy with that. And then all we need to do is plate up our sausage rolls. So you get plenty in this dish. So you just pile them up there. And then all I have is just a little bit of rosemary and some thyme. And we're just going to garnish the plate nicely with that. And the smell of that thyme is so good. And of course that works really well because we do have thyme in the dish itself. And there you have it, our beautiful apple and cheddar sausage rolls with our mustard and honey mayo dipping sauce. So we have our sausage rolls with the twist, yeah, with the cheddar and the apple in there. Now I've got a jam with the twist. This is a cranberry and bacon jam, which I promise you will fall in love with because it is delicious on a cheese board, and we all love a cheese board, especially as party food. So what we need to do is start cooking off our bacon first. So I have my pan on, I can turn the heat up a little bit now, and I'm going to get a bit of oil in. Not too much, because there's a bit of fat on the bacon. Now this is smoky bacon. See, it's all these hidden flavours when you go to taste it. The smokiness of the bacon is going to be delicious with the cranberries. So you've got the tartness of the cranberries cutting in to the smokiness of the bacon. Just imagine, it's going to be so good. So our bacon is done, it's really crispy, and this is very important because you want the sweetness of the crispy bacon in this recipe, because that'll work with the saltiness and the smokiness as well, and of course the tartness of the cranberries. So we're going in with a little bit more oil. Now we're putting onion in. I know, onion in a jam, it's mad, but this works. So in goes our red onion. You got to cook the onion until it's gorgeous and soft. So this is going to take a good 5 minutes. So now that the onions are beautifully soft and they're just beginning to brown around the edges, so I need to move on now, we add in the other ingredients. So in go our cranberries, and you can use fresh or frozen, it doesn't matter, but in they go. And putting in whole cranberries in this is really important because there's a lot of pectin in cranberries, and this will help set the jam. So we also need cranberry juice. And I know it is jam, so there's quite a bit of sugar going in, and this is a lovely dark, soft brown sugar. Give this a stir. Now, I have a couple more surprise ingredients. Cinnamon. Cinnamon, of course, it's going to work well. There's cranberries in there. And it's the time of the year for it. But also, this is a little clementine. The zest of the clementine, or an orange, or even a lemon if you wanted to. But just zest this in. The clementine zest is just that little bit more intense than the orange zest. Perfect. Smells so good already. So you bring this to the boil and then you leave this to simmer for about 10 to 12 minutes. What you want is you want your cranberries to pop open, and then that's going to help thicken everything and the flavours will meld very nicely together. And right at the end, the bacon goes in. So we just leave this to cook. It's amazing what 10 minutes will do. I now have a beautiful jammy, saucy consistency with the most divine smells. I'm going to just carefully whip out the cinnamon stick, and I'm going to pop back in the bacon and just cook the bacon in the mix for the last few minutes. It's that simple. And then we cool it and enjoy it. It's such an unusual combination, isn't it? When you think of it, cranberries, red onions, cinnamon, bacon. You're thinking, how on earth is that going to work? But it really does. It's such a hearty, wholesome dish, I have to say. And of course, you can do it without the bacon. You can just put in more cranberries, check the sugar, increase additional flavours and serve it with a beautiful piece of feta cheese on a cheese board as well if you didn't want to have the bacon in it. Do you know, if you have a vegetarian in your house, it's good to know you've got options. But the bacon does give a smokiness to it. You just put in smoked paprika instead. Right, that's done. I love the look of that. That's it, cooked through. Now it's just time to present it. Doesn't this look amazing as part of your New Year's Eve spread? Like you've got the gorgeous apple and cheddar sausage rolls, yum. And then here we have our bacon and cranberry jam. And I've got some local Irish cheese here, and that's a lovely Irish brie. And I also have some crackers and just some grapes, just something simple. Everybody loves a good cheese board. And I'm just putting some of the jam in here like this, ready for people to enjoy. Gorgeous. Leave it there. And that is it. And no New Year's Eve celebration is complete without a little bubbly. So I have a little glass here and I'll just pour a little bit. And I wanted to take the opportunity to say Happy New Year to you and your loved ones. Thank you so much for watching us here on Viking.TV and for coming to visit us here in Ballynock Cookery School with Viking Cruises. And of course, it's not just me here on my own. I have other people who want to wish Happy New Year to you. So come on in, guys. Come on, Sharon, Ronan, Joe, come on. Have a little tipple. There, Sharon, you've been doing all the hard work, preparing everything. Joe, you've been the person liaising with all our lovely Viking bookings, and Ronan, you're the man behind the camera. There you go.
Thank you very much.
So Happy New Year from all of us on Viking.TV and at Ballynock Cookery School. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Lovely.
Sausage roll, anybody? Cheers to to a great year of Flavours of the World on Viking.TV. And a special Happy New Year to all the amazing Viking Cruises guests who visited us when they were in Dublin this year. Happy New Year, everybody. Sláinte.